they could have asked if he was part of MS-13. Van Hollen had that opportunity to ask him about his background and apparently chose not to. Like the subject never even came up when they sat down together at that nice nifty little meeting in El Salvador. Here is CNN asking Van Hollen, did you bother? Listen to his answer.
President Trump says that some of Abrego Garcia's tattoos signify that he's a member of MS-13. In 2019, police alleged a confidential informant claimed that Abrego Garcia was an active MS-13 member. His wife and his attorney deny that, of course. Can you say with absolute certainty that he is not, nor has he ever been a member of the MS-13 gang? And did you ask him point blank?
Well, Dana, what Donald Trump is trying to do here is change the subject. The subject at hand is that he and his administration are defying a court order to give Abrego Garcia his due process right.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. We're going to play the rest of it. But what the heck, buddy? No, the issue is also, is he a criminal who was here illegally, who was part of MS-13 and then got the adjudicated deportation order and now he's out and you don't think it matters at all? Not just a little teeny tiny little smidge.
They are trying to litigate on social media what they should be doing in the courts. They need to put up or shut up in the courts. Let me tell you, and I decided to write this down so I could be absolutely accurate as to what Federal District Court Judge Zinnes said about these allegations by the Trump administration. Quote, no evidence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13 or any terrorist activity has been presented to the court. That's where to litigate this. It's been litigated in many other places. So I'm not going to get into the details because the whole purpose of our court system is for them to adjudicate these things, not for Donald Trump to go off on social media.
Yeah, you're right. They have not, there hasn't been a court hearing for them to put forward evidence in the first place, which is your whole point. But since you were the one person to have met with him, and since this is a thing, you say on social media, it's what we hear from Donald Trump and Republicans every day, all day long, you didn't ask him?
I didn't ask him that because I know what his answer is.
No, he didn't ask him that because he already told you, Dana. He doesn't care. He freaking doesn't care. Let that sit in for just 2 seconds. I mean, think about the Maryland mom, right? Patty, who's there with President Trump and she's sobbing and it's been an emotional time for her. And he's like, wow, you know, this woman has been through hell. And he's saying to her, you got to be strong and, you know, your daughter's gone, but, you know, maybe there's a bigger purpose here that we can have together. And she's saying Van Hollen didn't even bother to do anything when I lost my daughter. He's all about these open borders. And look what happens as a result of open borders. Now, let me be very clear. I get it. It's not oranges to oranges. We can't say that just because this guy was here illegally that he's then therefore a risk to people. But when you allow for illegal immigration, you encourage illegal immigration, guess what? Guess what happens? You actually run serious risk that you're going to have more problems. When you look at those numbers, oh my gosh, we've looked at that chart, right? From Axios, and you had upwards of 250,000 people coming in here illegally every single month until Donald Trump came in, when miraculously it just plunges by 96%. Incredible, right? Well, what do you think the consequences of having people here illegally like that really are? They're actually pretty significant, so significant when you look at states, for example, like California or Texas, that have had to struggle with their education. They're in those states. Why? Because they've got to accommodate all of these people that they didn't think that they would have to accommodate before. Stephen Miller talking about this on Newsmax saying, you know, effectively, you know what the US of A deserves? States like California actually deserve. He told my friend Rob Schmidt on Friday night, he said they deserve, you ready for it, guys? Reparations. Yeah, they deserve reparations, he said, because it is absolutely not fair. Reparations for California, for Texas, for any of these states that have had to suffer as a result of the massive influx of people into the educational system. So he went on Newsmax. He said, like, enough, we need to do something about this. And he wants to demand that these countries come forward with some other way to pay for all of the difficulties that they've caused us. So I thought that was kind of interesting and somewhat creative, and a new way to think about it, because certainly we have suffered, have we not, as a result of all of this migration in certain states, most in particular. But I would also say this, the Democrats continually just seem to be on the wrong side of the issue. When you don't even ask the question, is he a member of a gang? You expose yourself, making yourself vulnerable to comments like I heard from Scott Jennings on CNN last week. Let's listen.
Then Hollen posted a picture of him sitting with Abrego Garcia at a table.
I see these pictures tonight, and I think, boy, the party of women is really covering itself in glory tonight. I mean, I don't understand why the American left falls in love with the worst people. You've got a gang-banging, human trafficking, wife-beating illegal alien, and a United States senator in a ludicrous display of energy is in El Salvador having Mai Tais and Yahtzee. I do not get it. I do not understand why the left takes on the heroes. People like that. I don't get it. He has an adjudicated deportation order, and you have Democrat public officials falling all over themselves trying to get him back here without thinking through the next step, which is he's literally going to be deported somewhere else.
But he did have due process. Everything we know about him is documented because he did go through the court systems. He was stopped for trafficking. His wife did file these domestic violence charges against him. He was arrested with MS-13 members with a roll of cash that had the eyes and the ears and the mouths of the presidents erased, which is an MS-13 markings. This is all non-disputed.
Average American looking at this case, a lot of conflicting information. Okay, I believe some, I don't believe. An illegal alien came here in 2011, and somehow in 2025, he's still here? After having been through the court system, after having been arrested with lots of people in his car, after having all this evidence.
Deport him?
He just did, and now everybody's mad about it.
Why didn't
How
Donald
did an
Trump
illegal
deport
alien
him?
take advantage of our system for 14
Why
years
didn't
and
Donald
not
Trump
get
deport
away?
him?
Haha, all right. So, yeah, he did deport him, and look what happens then. Well, we'll see. There's some additional developments happening as we speak. The Supreme Court is telling Donald Trump that you cannot use the Alien Act now of 1798 to be able to deport some Venezuelans that are believed to be part of another gang, TDA, and therefore really acting violently against, in the president's view, the interests of our country. I will say this, Caroline Leavitt nailed it when she said this morning, I'm going to show you a clip from Fox and Friends when she called them out, Van Hollen and the rest of them, because this was Easter weekend, and what side of the equation were they on? Watch.
He is an illegal alien, a foreign terrorist, and a criminal MS-13 gang member who violated our country's laws by coming here in the first place. And shame on Senator Chris Van Hollen and the entire Democrat Party, who wasted Easter Sunday going on every television show in the country to advocate for the return of an illegal criminal gang member.
Yeah. You know what? It really wasn't time well spent. It really wasn't. And then here you got to ask yourself this question, guys. Who's going to pay for all this? Van Hollen traveling down to El Salvador, hanging out there. Apparently, in his view, you pay. You, the taxpayer, are responsible for paying. I don't think the taxpayer appreciates that very much. Here, he said it on Fox over the weekend. Don't doubt me. Watch.
Who did pay for this trip?
This was an officially cleared congressional trip, cleared on a bipartisan basis. Yes, like every other trip.
Really? Okay, well, don't tell Comer that, because Comer said just last week, I want to make sure you know your request is denied. I wrote in response to your April 15th, 2025 letter requesting that I approve from the committee's budget official travel for you both to visit the country of El Salvador to meet with a foreign MS-13 gang member whose wife accused him of crimes and who is strongly suspected of human trafficking. It is absurd that you both displayed active hostility for over 2 years towards the committee's oversight of the Biden border crisis and the consequences of millions of illegals entering the country, and yet now you are seeking to travel at committee's expense to meet with foreign gang members. It's like, guys, where is your allegiance? Like, what about being on the side of everyday Americans. Whatever happened to that? I mean, this is why Miller is now coming out. Stephen Miller went on to Newsmax on Friday night onto Rob Schmidt's show and said, hey, you know what? This is not fair. You think of the cost to our society, the cost to specific states, including California, Texas, or any state that's had to deal with this massive migration, and it's enormous. And we ought to be asking for reparations from the likes of Mexico as a result. Let me see if I can find you the sound, because this is just incredible, guys. I mean, talking about turning all of this on its head, right? Just turning all of it on its head. Let's watch it together. Here's Miller speaking there on, can we get it? I think we can. We'll give it a shot here. Stephen Miller speaking out. Perhaps not. Anyway, I will translate for you what he said, which was basically that, you know what, you can't do this. You can't do this because it doesn't work for our society. Like, at some point, there's too many people on the boat and the boat sinks. My words, not his. But he wants compensation because the boat's been sinking because they keep sending people here. And so it's a very new way of thinking of this. You know, I've been playing you Miller clips all week. He's fired up, super fired up, and he has every reason to be.